It doesn't matter really who it is that I am, so I'm not going to introduce myself. What what I want to do is I just got to get this off my chest. It's like midnight on a Sunday. I'm at home alone, and whenever that's the case, I typically try to find a good movie or you know course through channels on different streaming media to try to find something interesting because I don't like to go to bed early. And History Channel and documentaries are usually my choice. And every now and then, I will go out on TikTok. I don't really care for TikTok very much, but maybe YouTube Shorts and find something funny or entertaining. Sometimes I learn something. Sometimes there's some educational stuff out there. But I tripped across a sport that I want to just tell you a little bit about and opine my thoughts called Power Slap. And the way I got there was, like I said, coursing through YouTube Shorts, and the slap heard around the world. Will Smith, Chris Rock came up, and I started coursing through that, and it's pretty much ice cold now at this point. It's been a while, and that whole controversy has died down significantly, especially after Chris Rock's Selective Outrage special, which I thought was pretty funny. But between him and Dave Chappelle, they've pretty much thrown a lot of water on that, and the word slap drew other YouTube shorts. And I was presented with a relatively new sport in America. I think maybe a couple of years in the world. And I think it has a much storied history beyond that, but none more than recently, where Dana White and Arnold Schwarzenegger and others were trying to promote this new sport called Power Slap. And I watched, video after video of men striking each other. And if you haven't seen it, I'd caution you because it's not, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. And like I said, I'm a history buff, more of a enthusiast, let's say. And I've spent a considerable amount of time looking over the whole World War II, and every couple of years I will look at that and see, what really happened, what really caused us to drop bombs, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, what really, the whole Oppenheimer thing. And not that I'm getting off topic, it's just that if you can kind of stomach the events of those days, and what the world was doing, pretty harsh. If you can stomach that, you might be able to stomach watching Power Slap. Let me describe it to you. It's two grown-ass men facing each other with a short podium between the two, and they get turns slapping the shit out of each other. Now, when I say slap the shit out of each other, you've seen people get the shit slapped out of them. But if you have not seen Power Slap, you haven't seen what it looks like to get the shit slapped out of you. And it's even moved, women are getting into the sport too. I don't know to what degree, but I did see some. And standing basically toe-to-toe with that podium between them, they get to tell their opponent, here's how many times I'm going to wind up or haul off before I slap you so you're ready for the slap. And you're looking them dead in the eye, and you're swinging with all your might, and you are contacting them basically here. actually, actually, the slap is such that the hand comes across the face fairly parallel to the floor. And if you don't know what I mean by parallel to the floor, after you get slapped, the chances that your body will be parallel to the floor is also fairly great because lots of guys get knocked out. You have 30 seconds to recover, get back on both feet, and face your opponent. If you can't get there in 30 seconds, or if the judges feel like you're too far out of it, they'll just call it. And the winner is the guy basically still standing, or based on decision, they've been selected as the winner. When we were kids and we were bored and didn't have anything else to do, we would kind of make fun of each other. And we would say things like, your mama's so ugly that she doesn't need a costume to go out on Halloween. Or your sister's so fat that the hula hoop gets stuck. We would say these kinds of things to each other, not necessarily to insult each other, but because they were funny. They were just funny. And while I was watching Slap, it occurred to me that these boys are out to hurt each other. And forgive me if this eye over here looks a little swollen. It's kind of runny. I have a sty in that eye, and because of that, it tends to look swollen. No, I didn't get slapped. I haven't played this game. If somebody had to slap me like these guys are slapping each other, this eye would be over here with this one, or up here, down here with this one, and stay over there for a minute, because that's how hard they're slapping each other. They slap so hard. Let me give you an example. They slap so hard that when the person wakes up, they can speak 3 languages that they've never heard before. And they can write in that language. If they can stand up, they can write in that language too. They get slapped so hard that they forget how to spell. They forget how to spell slap. I've seen these guys get slapped so hard that their ears touching the back just for a second, and then they bounce back. I'm not trying to be funny, but I saw a guy get slapped so hard that he was looking forward and backward at the same time. I mean, I've seen a guy with straight hair get slapped so hard that it curled up tight on his head. And he didn't even fall down. He didn't even get knocked out by that. I saw this big American Samoan dude come up there. He was grinning. And typically these guys, when they look at each other, they put on the face. They put on the war paint, man. They're definitely showing. They're definitely game facing, big time. this big American Samoan came up there. You know, he had more ink on him than the third grade kid got a hold of a Bic. He had all kinds of tattoos. He had tattoos on tattoos. And he came up there smiling. And I was like, oh, good God. What is this cat going to do to his opponent? And he said, I'm going to haul off twice, okay? So go, whoo, whoo, that's number 2. The next thing that comes around here is the sun. Because all he's going to see is light. When that hand came around, and connected with this guy's jaw and face, you would think that when you get knocked out, everything just turns black, right? It just blackness. That's all you're going to see. That's true in every case of getting knocked out, except for this one. He hit that man so hard that when he passed out, I mean, his neck snapped over. Both of his feet rolled back. And these guys caught him so that he didn't do any further damage when he fell on the floor. But he got hit so hard that and when he passed out, instead of seeing black, there was no color because he'd slapped all the color out and it was just pure light. It was just light. It wasn't even white. It was just light. It was so bright that there's no color that could have been associated with what this man saw next. Because when they asked him a week later, when he came around, what did he see after that? What did he see when that happened? And he says, I would like to describe it to you like a bolt of lightning, except bolt of lightnings are typically white. And what I saw was so bright it wasn't even white anymore. And that scared me. If a person can get hit that hard. And my question is, the decision to take on such a sport where you're basically and literally putting your life in someone else's hand while you're holding both your hands behind your back and facing them and just saying to them, go ahead, go all out, do your damage, do your worst, has to have two things. Number one, you have to have brass balls, without a doubt. And number two, you probably are mayor of your trailer park. And no harm to people who live in trailer parks. I'm just saying, you probably didn't get a scholarship to Yale But I have seen one of these guys get slapped so hard that when he stood up, he looked over and he looked over and he had a diploma. He had a diploma in his hand. He don't know how. He don't know how it got there. He was dumb when he got to the podium, but after he got slapped, he was smart. All right. I've had my fun for the evening. I want to thank you for putting up with me, laughing at my own jokes. But that's how watching this sport affected me. I've lost it. I've just simply lost it. Anyway, again, I'm not going to introduce myself. I've said all that I wanted to say, I needed to say, and probably more. You have a good night.